At 11:47 a.m. on March 5, 2026, 40 nautical miles south of the port of Goa, Sri Lanka, the silence of the Indian Ocean was broken. Something the world had not witnessed in 81 years happened. An American submarine fired a torpedo in live combat. The target was the frigate Dina, the most modern warship in the Iranian Navy, displacing 1,500 tons, armed with near anti-ship missiles. It was returning home after participating in the 2026 International Fleet Review in India. On board, 136 Iranian sailors, alive. For now, the USS Charlotte is a Los Angeles-class attack submarine, 110 meters long. Nuclear propulsion. It maintains near absolute silence during operational immersion. It had been following the Dina for 72 hours undetected, an underwater pursuit covering 1,400 nautical miles, from the moment the frigate left Visakhapatnam with its weapons dismounted, as required by International Naval Exercise Protocol. The United States Navy knew that Dina was unarmed. The mission order was issued anyway. The war had begun on February 28th. The Dina was returning to an enemy port. That was enough. The Mark 48 ADCAP torpedo left the Charlotte's bow tube in active search mode. Speed, 55 knots. Running depth, 12 meters. The torpedo's active sonar flashed 3 times before acquiring the Dina's hull at a range of 800 meters. The detonation of the 295-kilogram warhead occurred under the aft engine room section, exactly where the keel meets the propulsion room. The bubble effect, the expansion and collapse of the gas, doubled the frigate's keel in less than 0.4 seconds. The ship broke in, too. The bow section sank in 4 minutes and 17 seconds. The stern section, still with its engines running, remained afloat for another 11 minutes before disappearing. Iran would later confirm 104 dead, 32 wounded, 0 survivors from the engine room. This was the first vessel sunk by a submarine in combat since the Falklands War in 1982, when the British submarine HMS Conqueror torpedoed the Argentine cruiser era General Belgrano, and it was the first confirmed American submarine kill in combat since World War II. When the U.S. sank 201 Japanese ships between 1941 and 1945, the Charlotte had rewritten the history of submarine warfare, and no one at the Pentagon was debating whether it had been legal, necessary, or proportionate. The United States Navy was at war. The Dina was an enemy warship. The torpedo was the final argument. What made the sinking of the Dina strategically devastating for Iran was not the ship itself. It was what the ship represented. The Dina was the crown jewel of the Iranian Navy, the most modern, the most capable, the most symbolically important ship in the fleet. It had been commissioned in 2021 with ceremonies televised live by Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. The Dina had participated in naval exercises with Russia, China, and Pakistan. It was the physical symbol of Iran's naval ambition to project power beyond the Persian Gulf to the open oceans of the world. And now, it lay 200 meters deep in the Indian Ocean, 3,900 kilometers from Bandar Abbas, sunk by a submarine that no one in Iran had managed to detect, track, or capture. The tactical consequences were immediate. 3 other Iranian warships received emergency orders to immediately return to the nearest port. The commander of the Iranian fleet issued a general alert, presumed the presence of American submarines in all maritime corridors. The diplomatic reaction was equally seismic. The Sri Lankan government issued a formal protest, stating that the attack had occurred in international waters, adjacent to its exclusive economic zone. India, which had organized the International Fleet Review, summoned the American ambassador for an emergency meeting, not to protest, but to obtain assurances that Indian ships in the Indian Ocean would not be mistaken for Iranian targets. China, which had sent 4 of its own ships to the same exercise, issued a statement saying it was monitoring the situation with deep concern. Pakistan, which had also participated in the Milan exercise in Visakhapatnam, alongside the Dina, remained silent, a silence that said it all. At the bottom of the sea south of Gaul, 136 Iranian sailors now lie as the most expensive argument the United States Navy has ever made about the cost of challenging American naval supremacy in the open oceans. The Charlotte returned to operational depth 18 minutes after sinking, without transmitting any radio signal, without identifying itself, and without leaving any evidence of its presence other than a field of debris adrift on the surface of the Indian Ocean. Comment 1 if you believe that sinking the Dina was the right decision.